Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be tackling a classic. Um, a book that, well, it's kind of a heavy one, but it's so important and fascinating.
Yeah, can't go wrong with
1984. I mean, everyone's heard of Big Brother, right?
Right.
But we're going to try to make it fun. We're going to be using this audiobook
Okay.
to really, dive into the details
Yeah.
and think about what makes dystopias like this tick.
Yeah.
What are the levers of control? How does it all work?
That's a good question.
Yeah. So to help us out, I've got our expert here
Hello.
who is really good at seeing the bigger picture and making connections.
I try.
Awesome. So let's just jump right in. We're in Oceania, right? This totalitarian state, Big Brother's watching telescreens everywhere. You can't escape them.
Yeah, it's inescapable.
How does Orwell really bring that to life in the audiobook? What are some of the details that really stood out to you?
It's interesting because he uses these very mundane details, like the telescreen's always chattering about pig iron production and the over-fulfillment of the 9th three-year plan.
Right.
Stuff that's not...
Super boring.
Yeah, super boring, but it just highlights that constant intrusion, that lack of privacy.
Right, yeah.
Even in your own home. You can't escape it.
It's always there. It's like this constant reminder that the party's
right?
always present.
Yeah.
And it's not just like the actions, right?
Yeah.
It goes beyond that. There's this whole concept of thought crime.
Oh, yeah.
Which is terrifying.
Totally.
How does that come through in the audiobook?
Well, so Winston, he knows that even a whisper can be picked up by the telescreen, right?
Oh, right.
But what's really scary is the thought that the thought police can, plug into your thoughts at any moment.
Oh, wow.
You never know if you're actually being watched.
So it creates this,
Yeah, constant paranoia.
Exactly.
You start, self-censoring.
Yeah, you police your own thoughts because you're so afraid.
That's almost like those social media algorithms, that seem to know what you're thinking before you even type it.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's like, how?
Yeah.
So we've got the telescreens, we've got the thought police.
Right.
We've got thought crime, this omnipresent threat.
Yeah.
But how does the party actually go about shaping people's thoughts,
Well, that's where the manipulation of language comes in.
Okay.
One of the most striking elements of 1984 is newspeak.
Right.
It's this controlled language that's designed to limit thought by getting rid of words that express rebellious or unorthodox ideas.
Like doublethink.
Exactly, doublethink.
The ability to hold two
Right.
completely contradictory beliefs at the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And thought crime, of course.
But how does that actually work in the story?
Yeah.
Is there an example that comes to mind from the audiobook?
Well, there's a part where Winston, he works at the Ministry of Truth, right?
Yeah.
And he's tasked with altering past newspaper articles.
Oh, wow.
So they erase any evidence of the party's inconsistencies, or mistakes.
So they're literally rewriting history.
Literally rewriting history.
It's gaslighting on a societal scale.
It is. It's exactly that. Orwell calls it reality control.
Wow.
So by controlling the past, they can manipulate people's perception of the present and shape their vision of the future.
Which makes you think, how much of our own understanding of history is shaped by the narratives we're exposed to,
Well, it's a great point. That's the brilliance of Orwell. He makes you question everything.
It's true.
What is truth? What is reality?
Yeah.
It's all up for grabs.
So we've got this totalitarian state, total surveillance, thought control, manipulated version of history. What about the people, though? Where do they fit in all of this?
Well, that's where the proles come in.
The proles, right. The working class.
Exactly. They're a fascinating study in how power maintains control through, distraction and manipulation. On the surface, they seem to have more freedom.
They do, right.
Yeah. They enjoy vices. They have casual relationships. They live outside the rigid constraints of party life.
They're obsessed with the lottery and all this mindless entertainment.
Exactly. And that's the point.
Okay.
They're kept pacified and distracted by these trivial pursuits.
So they don't even think to question the status quo.
Exactly. They're considered proles and animals,
Wow.
Free, but inconsequential. Not a threat to the party.
It's like a twisted version of bread and circuses.
Exactly. Keep them content, keep them entertained, and they won't rebel.
So what about the people who do see through it?
Well, that's where Winston's story comes in. That's where we get into the heart of rebellion. The search for truth and freedom in a world that seeks to crush those very things.
And that's what we're going to explore next.
Can't wait. Winston's Rebellion. It starts really small, just a diary.
A diary.
Yeah, but it's such a powerful symbol in this world where every thought is watched.
Yeah. It's like his own private space.
Exactly.
To think his own thoughts.
Right, and to express his doubts, his anger at the party. It's like he's taking back a piece of himself that they've been trying to control.
I love how Orwell describes the diary, too. It's not just any notebook.
Oh, yeah. It's beautiful.
This old-fashioned thing with this creamy paper.
Right.
It seems so out of place in Oceania.
It is, and it's from that antique shop.
Mr. Charrington's.
Yeah. What do you think about that setting?
It's like more than just a place to buy a diary.
It is. It's like a connection to the past.
Yeah. To a time before the party.
Right, when things were different.
I love that. It's full of these objects that are like forbidden.
They're outlaw.
Yeah, relics of a world that's been erased.
Exactly.
It's like a reminder that there was a time when things were different.
Yeah, a time when individuality and beauty were valued.
Yeah, and he buys that glass paperweight.
Oh.
That beautiful paperweight.
With the coral inside.
Yeah. It seems so useless in this world.
Right, but it's beautiful.
What do you think he's drawn to?
I think he's longing for something real, something authentic, something beyond the party's ideology.
Right.
That paperweight, it represents a kind of fragile beauty.
Yeah.
A reminder of what the world was like
before the party.
Yeah.
Before the control.
And then there's Julia.
Oh, yeah, Julia.
How does she challenge the party?
Her rebellion is different. It's more about her body, her desires.
Right.
In this world where they try to control everything.
Yeah, even your thoughts.
She wants to experience pleasure, to be intimate. It's like a rejection of the party's puritanical views.
That scene where she puts on makeup in their hideout.
Oh, yeah.
It's so powerful. It is in this world where they want everyone to be the same.
Right.
She's expressing her individuality, her femininity.
Her beauty.
Yeah.
It's such a small act of defiance.
It says so much.
And the relationship.
Yeah.
It becomes this act of rebellion, too.
It does.
It's about connection and finding joy.
And love.
In this world that tries to deny you those things.
Right. They've created this little bubble of freedom.
Yeah. But it's so fragile.
It is. And then there's O'Brien.
O'Brien.
He comes in, and at first it seems like he's on Winston's side.
Right. Like he understands.
Yeah, like he's part of the resistance.
Yeah.
The brotherhood.
He represents this hope.
He does.
That Winston's not alone.
That there are others out there.
Fighting back.
Yes.
That scene in O'Brien's apartment.
Oh, yeah.
It's so luxurious.
Yeah.
So different from Winston's world.
Right.
It feels like hope might actually be possible.
Orwell is so good at that, giving you this glimmer of hope.
And then ripping it away.
Exactly.
The betrayal is just devastating.
It shatters any illusion that there's any safe haven.
Yeah. And then it leads to Winston's capture.
In the Ministry of Love.
The Ministry of Love.
That's where Orwell shows us the true brutality of totalitarianism.
The torture.
Yeah. Physical and psychological.
It's relentless.
It is. It's designed to break him.
To make him conform.
To crush his spirit.
And O'Brien, he becomes the architect of Winston's destruction.
He does.
I'll never forget that line.
Which one?
When O'Brien says, the party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested solely in power.
It's chilling.
It's pure nihilism.
It is. There's no moral framework.
Power is an end in itself.
Exactly.
And then that vision of the future.
What vision?
When O'Brien tells Winston, there will be no curiosity, no enjoyment of the process of life. All competing pleasures will be destroyed.
Wow.
It's like a world without anything that makes life worth living.
Right. No individuality, no love, no joy.
No creativity.
All gone.
But Winston, he still clings to his love for Julia. It's like this tiny ember of resistance.
It is. He refuses to betray her.
Even under unimaginable pain.
It's incredible. It shows the power of human connection.
The power of love.
Exactly.
But the party's methods are just too effective.
They are.
The torture, the manipulation, it all takes its toll.
It breaks him.
And he betrays Julia.
He does.
He embraces the party's lies.
He learns to love Big Brother.
It's a complete transformation.
It is. The party has won.
They've conquered his mind.
His heart.
And that final image.
Which one?
Winston accepting that 2 + 2 = 5.
Wow.
It's like he's surrendered his own reason.
His own perception of reality.
To the party's dictates.
It's a powerful warning.
About what happens when we stop thinking critically.
When we stop questioning authority.
When we lose trust in our own judgment.
Exactly.
Last we left off, Winston was totally transformed. Like, he went from wanting to rebel to fully embracing the party's ideology. What does that actually look like? How does Orwell describe this, like, new version of Winston?
Oh, it's so disturbing. We see him after he's been released, from the Ministry of Love, and he runs into Julia.
Oh, wow.
In a park. And right away you can tell something's different, like the connection they had, the spark of rebellion.
Yeah.
Just gone,
Yeah.
It's like they're just empty shells.
Wow. It's like the party got to their emotions, their memories.
Like they don't even recognize each other anymore.
Yeah. Is this what victory looks like for the party?
I think so. It's not enough to just make people obey.
Right.
They want to control how they feel, how they think.
Like total psychological transformation.
Exactly. They want to erase any thought or feeling that challenges them.
Wow. And then there's that moment when Winston declares his love for Big Brother.
I know.
It's chilling. You can hear it in the audiobook, the conviction in his voice.
It's like he really believes it.
What does that tell us? About Winston? About the party?
I think it shows how completely Winston has surrendered, you know? Like he's lost his individuality, his ability to think critically. He's just a product of the party's conditioning.
It's bleak. It's a really bleak ending.
It is.
But stepping back from 1984, what's the takeaway? What can we learn from this dystopia, for our own world?
Well, I think Orwell's warning is still so relevant. Like the potential for tyranny is always there.
Yeah.
Especially when power goes unchecked. When people are afraid to think differently, when truth is manipulated.
It's like we're seeing echoes of that today.
Right. With all the surveillance technology, the misinformation, the attempts to control language.
It's scary. It's easy to think of 1984 as just fiction.
I know.
But it's not that far-fetched.
Not at all.
So what can we do? How do we safeguard our freedoms?
We have to be aware, Recognize how power can be used to manipulate us.
Yeah.
We need to be critical thinkers.
Right. Question the narratives that are given to us.
Exactly. And be wary of anyone who wants to limit our freedom of thought.
A freedom of expression.
Yeah. We have to be willing to challenge authority.
And to think differently.
Right. Remember that complacency? That's how tyranny takes hold.
Yeah. It's about being vigilant.
It is. And cultivating our own critical thinking skills, Learning to see through propaganda.
And cherishing our freedoms.
Yes. Our right to think and speak freely.
Yeah.
Never take those for granted.
That's a powerful message to end on. Well, thank you so much for taking us on this deep dive into 1984.
It was my pleasure.
It's been unsettling and thought-provoking.
It always is.
But so important. And to everyone listening, we hope this has sparked some new thoughts. Maybe even a little healthy paranoia.
A little paranoia is good.
Keep questioning, keep thinking critically, and keep fighting for a world where truth and freedom win. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.